Triple Crown here, Friday, July 5th, 2024, returning to Nashville, Tennessee for the National, we'll play on the National there, at the fairgrounds there in Nashville, Tennessee. This three-day show had a lot of action. There will be plenty to show off, plenty to discuss in this series of videos. I probably will have at least 3 different parts for the Nashville vlog, possibly 4, we'll see as I edit them down throughout the week. But there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to cover. You see, I'm set up here with my half table. Let's get right into it. So yes, I only have half a table. That is going to pose some challenges here. Basically how this came to be is I had a friend who I was talking with, and he said that he had a little bit of his table space he wanted to sublet, and I decided that I would go ahead and make the trip down to Nashville and use up this little bit of table space. I have about 5 showcases worth of cards, and I don't want to try to jam them all into 2. Therefore, what I'm kind of doing is replenishing cards as I go along. I'm going to fit as much as I can in there without things becoming too overwhelming at the beginning. As things sell, I'll kind of replace the cards I have in there with what I think is the next most likely card to sell in my case. Also, depending if it's a graded card, a magnetic one-touch card, or just a raw card in a top glitter and perfect fit sleeve. There's a lot of juggling that's going on. I can audible as needed throughout this. Say that there's a player or a card that is just not getting any attention, I can swap it out for something that I think might be more likely to move. A lot of versatility here, but I definitely had to be a lot more strategic in my setup than I normally am.
Alright, how much on the smoltz? I gotta buy that since I'm doing a show with John Smoltz.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
When's that?
End of July. Doing a fundraiser.
Oh, that's cool.
On my Whatnot channel.
45 on that one.
45. So I'm buying a lot just to sell on the show and give away.
Yeah, I got you. I think that's the only smoltz I have.
I should have brought mine.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. You want to ask me?
Little did I know when I made the first deal of the day, would it be the easiest or one of the easiest that I made throughout the day. Not too much back and forth there. I gave my number. He took it. He was on his way after that. But after this, it gets a little bit more back and forth, as you will see throughout the entirety of part 1, probably.
You got room on it?
I'll listen to an offer.
Let me check. The last one did $11.75.
Okay.
Should go like $9.50 on it?
I can't do that. I would not even be below the $11.75.
$11.75.
That Burrow Color Blast is going to be asked about over and over again. I'm also going to get that do you have any room question more than any other question throughout the day. It was pretty mind-blowing how much it happened. But yeah, my number on that Burrow is going to be $12.50. That is right around the average of all of them that has sold. I'm going to hold pretty firm to that price. And eventually I'm going to get my number later on in the show. But I wanted to put that there.
Would you have much room on the pair of the Amon-Ra cracked ices?
I will listen to an offer.
Okay, because they were selling like $680 to $700 is kind of where they're at right now. Between the 2 variations, I was gonna say $1,200 for the pair.
I wouldn't be able to get there. Yeah, I wouldn't be close to that, unfortunately.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, all good. Thank you.
There are a lot of times throughout this show where I'm starting to feel like, man, my stuff is way overpriced. But then I go walk around the room and I see some of the other prices and I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'm not so bad after all. I have a feeling that a lot of these guys are coming to my table because my stuff is at least close to what the last one sold for. There's a lot of stuff in here that is not even in the same ballpark. Granted, I only walked around very briefly and most of that was just my trips to the snack cart or to the restroom. But from what I saw, my prices were pretty competitive with what else was in the room that day.
Let me get one of those things. See this $3 like, never mind.
Would you prefer if I pulled them out for you? That'd be easier.
I see that Bryce.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
It's always easier than typing it out.
100% easier.
You'll see a lot of people trying to scan cases with their phones. There's a lot of different price tools out there like Card Ladder, Alt, etc., that will use the camera on your phone to scan a card and try to pull up the sales data based on the picture that you take. A lot of times I'll offer to just pull the card out for people. They don't have to be sly about it. I know exactly what they're doing. It's no really secret to me. It also kind of allows me to know exactly which card they're looking at. You'll see me go for my sheet there. Because now that I know that he's interested in the Bryce Young, I know to look at that one and see what I'm into it at in case we can strike a deal here.
You got any room on this?
I will listen to any offer you got.
Okay. It's not for me.
Okay.
Texted her, see if she wants it.
She's got good taste.
I got a list, and it was a lot of Bama guys.
Any other Bama guys that you're looking for, like Waddle or?
Yeah, like she's wanting downtowns, preferably. Well, no, preferably, just PSA 10 downtowns of Bama guys.
Yeah.
She's gonna think on that. But she said you do have room.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can make me an offer.
Yeah.
It'll be right here for you.
Appreciate it, man.
Yep. We'll see you around.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough. I don't know. Because if the number 5 did 1.6 or 1,160, how much is the number 20 worth compared to that?
Right.
It's when it gets harder. It's like the weird NT variations or whatever.
The card that we're talking about here is the Justin Jefferson Midnight National Treasures RPA that I have next to the Joe Burrow NT booklet there. There seems to be a very heavy recurring theme here early on in the cards that are being asked about. My Burrow Color Blast is at the top of the list. The Bryce Young Auto is at the top of the list. That Justin Jefferson is also right there, and perhaps a tier below if those are 1A. That card is 1B. What that tells me is that I am fielding a lot of offers on those. I am kind of gauging an interest of where people want to be at it, and I can use those offers to kind of leverage one another. That's one of the things that these shows is that if I keep getting offers on these cards, it makes me feel more and more confident that I am going to get my number on them, especially if those offers are close. I keep getting offers that are closer and closer to what I want on that Burrow. Same thing on that Bryce Young. As that happens, I feel more empowered as the seller, and that also is going to reduce my willingness to come off of my number just because I can see the demand right in front of my eyes, and I don't have as much urgency to move the card. Not that I'm in a situation where I have to move any of these anyways, but look, I didn't come here just to set up all my cards and show them off like a museum. Obviously, I want to sell them, but I also want to get a fair number for them. And by fair, I mean a number that is both fair to myself and fair to the buyer.
I don't want to lowball, so I don't know how to.
You can make your offer. My sticker's a little high on it, but
Yeah, I mean. Let me look at some of the other NT variations to see.
Sure.
Do a little more research before I go in blind. I guess I'd start at 1K where I'd offer on it.
I wouldn't be close to that. Like here's the last one of the Midnights.
When was that? Oh, April?
Yeah.
I'm not even seeing that one. Did it get actually pushed through, or
Yeah.
is that car on card ladder? 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my max would be like, I would like to be like, that was an offer, I would have come up to like 1.2 or 1,100, or 1,200 is where I would have liked to have been on it. I just probably I wouldn't feel comfortable paying above the number 5 comp.
I understand.
But
the bridge might be a little bit too far to cross. On
this one, yeah. I'm trying to look and see if there's anything else. You have a ton of nice stuff though. So.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Is there anybody in particular you're looking for? Because I have a ton of stuff that's not out yet.
I PC Seahawks, so I've been building up my Sam Howell stuff recently. I'm looking for, of course, Love, but I'm sure everyone is. So.
I think I sold my last to Love last weekend. Just those two.
No, I mean I have some others. I can look. I haven't made a little spreadsheet of where I came here.
No deal for the moment on the Jefferson Midnight RPA, but this was a really good, healthy negotiation here. I really do enjoy the back and forths, kind of like this one here, where we kind of just put out our feelings, kind of share where we're at. I think that helps us in our dialogue in coming to an agreement, or just realizing that, hey, we're not going to come to an agreement here. But I enjoyed this conversation.
What kind of room do you have on it?
I would do 400 on it.
Last sale was 3.
That Bobby Witt Chrome Platinum Auto was by far and away the most asked about card in my case baseball-wise on day one. It actually had a recent sale, I think at like $880 something. My sticker's at $650, which is pretty significantly below that. The one before that was like $715. I very seldom will increase my sticker price. In fact, I could probably count on one hand how many times I've done it in 5 years. The reason for that, if I was willing to take $650 last week, why would I not be willing to take $650 this week? Someone else gets a good deal on it. Hey, hopefully that means they'll come back for more. That's how I see it, at least.
What's up, Juice? How are you?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Doing well, thanks. How are you doing, sir?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
I always do my best to greet anyone that even somewhat approaches my table, just because I don't want them to feel like they can't approach if someone else is already there. Throughout those last 2 interactions, you can see there's a little hole in my case next to that Burrow booklet. There is a gentleman off screen to the right who is looking at one of the cards and trying to look it up. He does this for about 3 minutes. I don't want to miss out on any potential sales just because I'm helping him at the same time. I've gotten pretty good at multitasking, handling multiple customers at once. I just try to keep a vigilant mind out there as to which cards are currently out of the showcase, who's holding what, who needs help with what, and where we're at in each respective deal. But again, I don't want to miss out on any sales just because it appears that I am busy with a customer, even if I am.
You do 325?
I would do 350 on it.
340?
That's fine.
Can I say this on you?
Yeah, go ahead.
855 was what that one did. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a good one. You do any trading?
I would consider it, but it'd be very selective on that card.
What cards are you looking for?
I'd look for like other wits, any kind of football, like the big names. So, if you have anything like that. I mean, yeah.
I'm always open to trading down on what I would consider to be larger cards, and large I'm going to classify as $500 or above, because if you think about it, most people go to a show, especially like a smaller show, with only a few $100s to spend. A lot of times when you are dealing with a lot of the higher end cards, you're going to need a very specific collector, or in most cases a reseller of some sort, who is going to be going in after those cards. But it is definitely a lot easier for me to move stuff in the $100 to $300 range, and that's kind of what I'm hoping to do here, is to pick out 1 to 3 cards that this guy can add cash on top of to get that wit. That way I can make the wit deal profitable and still have new cards to put out that might be easier to move. I don't necessarily care how I get across the finish line, as long as I can get enough cards to get me to about what I want to get out of that wit. That's really what I care about. Now, sometimes that happens all at once when someone buys the card outright, and that's great. Sometimes it requires a little bit more creativity through trading down, and the latter is going to be how I get home on this particular deal and try to navigate this trade right here. Let's see what he's got. Let's see if we can come to an agreement on something.
Probably just these 2. Okay. If you want to add cash on top.
Yeah. How much cash you want?
I do like 400 cash.
What do you think? I mean, is that, you like that one, or? Yeah, you mind if I keep looking at your stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm interested.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I don't think I'm not.
These 2.
You take 350 cash in those 2 cards?
That's stick at 4.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. You know what? Let's do it. 350 is fine.
You good?
Yeah.
My bluff was called there. He was beginning to walk away. I truly did not expect that. I thought that he was going to counter at like 375 or something, and we could find some kind of middle ground. I was already really giving him what I thought was max value on those 2 cards that I'm picking up there. My wit, again, it's below what they've sold for. I get that I value it a little bit less, and because of that, I'm willing to concede a little extra $50 to get the cash. Again, at $350, that deal is more than profitable for me, and I'll get 2 cards that really shouldn't be too tough to move. I mean, Justin Jefferson and Jordan Love are pretty popular players. They're ultra-modern football, and that's what I'm getting asked about the most. Kind of just reading the room, moving into some stuff that I feel is more likely to move, and I can move it perhaps in chunks rather than having to try to move that wit all at once. Not that the wit would be impossible to move. It was a card that was asked about a lot. But I think these guys were Royals fans. They really wanted the wit, and I'm glad I could send them home happy with the card.
I'm going to take a look at the Pujols Dynasty.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I don't want to go through all of it.
No, you're good. How about it?
Any room on the 400 price tag?
Yeah, I'll take an offer on it.
What's the best you can do?
It's not a card dolly.
I see the same one to 300. That's why
It's a
I'm
card
like,
dolly if I had a
The exact same one, because it was, so the guy who I got it from, he auctioned it, and that it didn't go through. Like the guy didn't pay for it,
yeah.
so that's
Still pops on card ladder though. That's the problem.
I still don't quite understand that argument. I mean, I bought it from the person who tried to sell it. It didn't go at auction, and he posted it up on social media like an hour later. I hit him up, and we came to an agreement on it. So I don't understand how that value really applies to the card since it wasn't paid for, even though it shows on card ladder. Like I can tell you right now, it wasn't paid for because I bought the card about an hour or two after the auction ended. I don't think that guy got it in hand that quickly, but I don't know what to say about that one.
And you comp these recently? I'll trust you on it.
The only one that I haven't is the Caminero.
Okay, I'll look at that one up. Fine with you?
That works for me.
So that's 345 sticker, if my math is right there.
That's what I had too.
Okay. $280. Awesome.
Thank you.
You might recognize that voice, especially if you are on the TikTok side of the hobby. Again, I don't usually name names when I'm doing this unless it's someone who creates content. But this is Clever Cuban. He's a whatnot seller. We've done a few deals in the past. This is our first time meeting in person, but probably one of the nicest guys that you will ever meet. I cut him a break just because we have done deals in the past. Also on my baseball, I'm a little bit more flexible. Usually I can get into it at better prices than I can football since the demand is a little bit lower. I also brought out my reserves, quote unquote. You can see that little sticky note there that says reserves. Those are the things that didn't quite make it into my case, and I thought that there might be a few things in there that Clever Cuban would like to add to his stack, which he ended up pulling out a couple of things that otherwise he might not have added to his stack. So I'll do that from time to time. If I don't have everything set out like I don't at this show, I'll pull it out if I know that this is a buyer who may align with some of the things that aren't necessarily lined up in the case there. But nice little stack of baseball moved along there. A little boost there midday in my show sales for the Friday portion of this show.
I guess like where do you want to be on this one?
Well, like we
with Bryce.
So why not? You can sell those.
Bryce, I've got to be at 1350.
Okay. So where do you want to be on that?
So let me ask you this: you couldn't do 6 on this with 1350 on that on the burn.
Let me look at it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were cutting.
Yeah, like 21 for those two.
Okay.
We again don't make a deal here for the Bryce Young. This is the same gentleman from earlier. We had some really good back and forths. He ended up coming back the next morning when I wasn't recording, and we made a deal for the Bryce Young at my number of 1,400. So really the big 3 cards that I was asked about a lot, the Wit, the Young, and the Burrow Color Blast, I ended up having to hold firm, and although it took a day or so on the 2 football ones, I ended up getting my number on all 3, and that was really what I had to do at this show, was stand my ground, and ended up paying off in all 3 instances. I'm going to leave it here for part 1. There's still some more from day 1, and then I will mix that in with the start of day 2 in the next video that will be out later this week. But oh boy, Friday was a bit of a battle. I got up extremely early, probably like 4:30 in the morning, to make the drive down to Nashville. And after the show was over, I was beat. I went right back to the hotel. I did not bother going to the trade night just because I felt beat down at this point in time. The amount of times that I got asked about the room is probably 3x what you saw in this video. Also, the what's your best question, I got that so many times as well. But there was a lot of guys going around. Some of them had dealer badges. Some of them just had regular VIP badges, telling me that they need room. They need to be able to make some money. You know, what percentage are you willing to sell this at? What percentage are you willing to sell that at? And at times it was exhausting, I got to admit. And thankfully I had a vacation coming up the following week because I needed it to mentally reset. But I felt very drained after day one. Sales-wise, I did okay. I did a few grand in sales. I think it was either 2,500 or 3,500. Not great for what I was expecting, but still it could have been a heck of a lot worse. And again, I did end up selling the Burrow Color Blast that you saw throughout this video, as well as that Bryce Young autograph the next day. I don't have clips for those, but I'll tell you about them now. It took a little bit of effort to get those moved, a lot of going back and forth, but eventually the buyers came back and paid my number on them with a little negotiation there. So happy to have moved those eventually, but yeah, had to play the long game with this one. I'll be back later this week with at least 2 more parts of the Nashville vlog. Let me know what you think of part 1 down below. But until then, take care, stay safe, and be kind.